Tonight we talk about the national trend of violence and specifically what's happening here in the capital region, and a discussion with one of America's top sports minds about the $95 million man. Roll it, Ed. District Attorney Hillar Moore, representing the 19th JDC, is here with us on set to talk about some of these numbers all across the desk here. Hillar, as it relates to violence across the country and here in the capital region, you recently spoke and gave a presentation on some of these numbers, and man, looking at them, it's pretty unnerving to see the trend that we are in right now. So first up, how are you?
Doing great.
Let's start at the beginning. Nationally, there is a conversation about violent crime. Some nonviolent crime has trended down in this last year, but violent crime is up. Why is that?
I think it's directly related to COVID.
Okay.
But you'll see the property crime, the burglary crime is down, which you would expect because people are at home more and less burglaries. But you see the aggravated assaults, the firearm assaults, and unfortunately the murders are up. And nationally, the murders are up 29% in overall, but in major and mid-sized cities like Baton Rouge, it's up 31, 32%. And we surely have seen that over 2020 and 21. And it's numbers that are similar, but unfortunately higher than 2017, which was the year after the flood. And we always thought we were going to have bad years with COVID coming, and we didn't think it would maybe be this bad. So COVID has really affected us negatively.
What was the most startling piece of information you found when you were compiling this for the presentation, and that as it relates to national crime?
A lot of things, I guess, but domestic violence. So nationally, it looks like domestic violence on a national level, their stats seem to say they're staying steady with 2020.
And it's spiking here.
But I think that 2020 was also an increase because of COVID. Everyone saw an increase in domestic violence. So I think that maybe on a national level, folks don't capture the data like we do. I think we have a lot better data collection with domestic violence and also intimate partner violence, which is the same. But right now, we're sitting on 35 domestic violence, intimate partner related homicides.
Yeah.
That's a big number. Last year, we thought was way out of hand was 19.
Well, and in those numbers here, 23 partner-related deaths, 12 domestic violent related deaths, and you said 5 of them?
4 were actually justified, and they were earlier on in the year where a lady had been beaten before, and then repeat offender came back and took actions in her own hand, and they were declared justified.
So nationally as well, we've seen the spike in opioid-related deaths. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, we've been trending up on opioid deaths with the increase of fentanyl that we've been seeing, and that's just been on a rise steadily since the last 8 or so years at least. But we thought we were really alarmed when we had 24 opioid-related deaths, but now, unfortunately, last year we're at 240.
Yeah.
This year we've already surpassed that, and we're probably going to hit around 340 opioid-related deaths this year. And that's only the deaths, and you're looking at 15 to 16 to 1,700 opioid overdoses people have survived. So it's a really big number. And as you and I talked earlier, when you look at the overall crime of shots fired, murders, violent activity, the map seems to be concentrated in certain segments, as you know. It's highly concentrated in certain segments of the community. But when you look at the heroin use and the heroin overdoses and the deaths, it kind of lights up the parish. So it's actually a parish-wide more problem than pockets of, although we have some pockets at some hotels and motels where, unfortunately, a lot of these folks go and they overdose and die.
We'll drill down into that specifically as our conversation goes on, but when you have conversations with district attorneys around the country, and I know that you're connected to a lot of DAs, I mean, what's your dialogue about what they're seeing in terms of the spike in violence and then being able to get people to and through jury trials to get justice one way or the other?
Everyone's just scrambling right now to figure out what in the heck is going on. But everyone has the same problems that we have. we have a little more, I think, bigger problems than maybe some others our same size. And we've always historically had a bad murder problem here, just a homicide problem. Other crime is relatively the same, but for a city our size, we just should not be at the number that we are. But down in the South and historically here, our numbers have been high, and we need to look at that. But again, our numbers for overdoses are increasing, but things do find a way of making it down more south, starts in the north or the west, and we eventually see it, particularly with that type of drugs that we're seeing. But everyone's in the same position, particularly with jury trials. It's hard to get a jury trial.
Well, I want to come back and talk with the district attorney about some of these numbers, specifically some of the areas in our parish that see spikes in crime. And then you may not really know how it looks opioid versus homicides. We'll get into that. And Matt Moscona is going to be in studio with us later on in the show to talk about LSU's new hire. You're watching The Clay Young Show on WBRZ+. So the DA is still here with us talking about crime in the capital region. Here is a stat that you might find interesting. In 2020, there were 5,544 shots fired here in East Baton Rouge Parish. Through the early part of, actually through November of this year, 4,999. Now, obviously that number has likely gone up, seeing as how we're into the month. That's a lot of rounds hitting the ground, Hillar.
Yeah, it is, and it's unfortunate. It's probably, when we look at recover guns, it's generally a gun that's stolen out of someone's car, that's unlocked to someone's house. So as corny as it may sound, you could really save a life, probably, if you lock your car. Make sure you know where your gun is.
I was on a call with some agencies from around the country talking about communicating through law enforcement to communities, and that's one of the major things that they talked about is people not leaving guns in their cars when they go inside at night.
And when they find a good gun, they keep that gun. That gun, you see that gun used over and over again, particularly the semi-automatic weapons now. The scary part is the ghost guns now. It's hard to track, and those that are being made fully automatic by switches, and we have seen those in Baton Rouge, and that's extremely dangerous, troubling. Because, as you know, a lot of these kids that shoot, they shoot from far away. They're cowards, and they shoot from a car. And if their target is one, they'll kill three or hit three.
Because they're not exactly snipers. They're just firing in a general direction.
Yeah, and so, locking your cars, your gun, particularly with the big sale now of guns that happened in 2021, a lot more guns on the street by legal, lawful owners, but we need to make sure they keep them in their house.
So looking at a statistic about non-fatal shooting incidents per month, October was something else with 54
Yeah.
within the city limits, 7 in the sheriff's office covered area. The total number so far this year is 423.
Yeah, so that's the non-fatal shootings that we classify that is not just a house that's shot. That doesn't include houses that are shot. That only includes a bullet to a body where
Right.
blood is drawn. So that's still a really big number.
Right.
So that's the number. Media generally follows homicide because someone's dead, and you can
Right.
always track that.
Right.
It's hard to hide a body like you could hide a burglary statistic or theft. You can't hide a body. But the true measure of how crime is good or bad or going down is the number of non-fatals or shots fired. Because the more non-fatals go down, the more shots fired go down, the less chance you have of a murder. So that's a big number to watch right now for Baton Rouge.
Any particular, because it's twice as large as the November number. Any particular reason October was so high?
No, it really was an outlier and just have no idea.
So we were talking about jury trial. Well, let's do this first. Some of the areas, everybody hears about 70805.
Yeah.
For the better part of the last 20 years, when people think about crime, that area gets stigmatized as the worst part of Baton Rouge, and the numbers are high, but crime is all over. Kind of talk about overall where it is and how it's moving.
Yeah, unfortunately, overall, it's been 70805 historically. However, as you know, we put a big footprint in 05 years ago, and somewhat the foot had a move to 70802. 70802, where we are now, where we stand filming this show, is the hottest spot in Baton Rouge, and that's right off of Highland Road. And then we also have 70806 and 70815. That's the top 4.
Right.
But as you all know, when those zip codes get labeled as the worst places to be in Baton Rouge, they are for homicide and shots fired. But as you know, walk in those neighborhoods, overwhelming amount of people are good law-abiding citizens that want law enforcement there.
Right.
So when we say those zip codes, I feel bad to say, but it's true.
Because the large majority of the people who live there are not the people causing the problems.
Absolutely.
Well, we've walked through those areas and we've been all over Baton Rouge. They're happy to see law enforcement. So the narrative that they don't want cops in their neighborhood is wrong.
I mean, look, when these people come out of their house and want to hug or take a picture with a deputy or a policeman, or want to say a prayer for them and say, when are you coming back? It's like, damn, okay, people really, it's not the national narrative that or it's being pushed.
But so many people don't touch the area, so they don't know. So let's talk about homicides here. And this is the thing that's so fascinating to me. In 2003, there were 48 homicides in East Baton Rouge Parish. So far in 2020, it's 114, and that's through November.
No, that was 2020 is 114.
That's right. 2020 is 114. So far, right now,
138 or 139.
138, 139, and over 150 total homicides,
including negligent and justified. Correct.
Right. So you were talking about 2016, the flood of 2016, and then the next year there was a spike. So
yeah, the flood year was the best year at the halfway mark, was the best year Baton Rouge was having since 03. Everything was going well.
Stay right there. We got less than 30 seconds. We'll take a break and come back. Listen, I want to invite you to check out the 21st Century Business Forum. I have a conversation up right now with the great Junior Bridgman. Never made more than $350,000 in his career. Now he's worth over $650 million, and he will tell you how he did it. Check that out. It's good stuff. Back with Hillar in just a moment. Will $95 million get you a national championship? Stick around, and Matt Moscona will tell you a little bit about that. I can't wait to hear his opinion on the whole Brian Kelly thing. You know, I called him Chip Kelly on my podcast with Gordy. He just slipped into it.
I guess you're not getting any donations from me.
Probably not. That's okay, but hell, he can afford it. You know, over $100 million. Let's talk about something that we were talking about before we came on the air: jury trials. In 2020, you had 12 the entire year. This year so far through November, you've had 16. And you were kind of talking about how that works. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, COVID just shut down the whole justice system, the court system particularly. Also, you look at the jail population, where we're at the lowest ever in 40 or 50 years.
Yeah.
And that was intentional from 2018. But now with COVID, we wanted to get people out of jail as quickly as we could, along with the judges and the public defender. You know, whether that's had any negative impact, that's for others to guess or try to decide. But people that are in the criminal business, they know when courts are open or not open. Mm-hmm. And they know that there's not seeing a jury. When you don't see a jury, when you're able to get out of jail, you're saying, okay, I can maybe do what I always have done. There's really not a lot of accountability because of that, but we just couldn't get to them. So that's a big factor, I think, all over the country as to why you see spike in the numbers. And we hope to get back to jury trials. And actually, East Baton Rouge has done better than most other places in the United States and Louisiana.
So you've referenced in many speeches that you've given about community investment. You and I have been in these communities walking, and you referenced the canvases and meet and greets that we have done. What, in addition to law enforcement, what do you think can be done to try to stem the tide of all this violence?
I mean, look, if you just look at the maps and historically look at the maps, we're talking about, let's start with 02 and 05, mm-hmm. Two relatively small places. If you were able to just invest a ton of money in those people who are waving their hands saying, I'm a problem, I have issues, can you help me? If we can invest, find them, identify them, find and invest money in those people's, those communities, it should be an easier fix. Look, we have to really start with parents first. Mm-hmm. And you have to be a parent, not a friend. And you have to know if your kid, you can't be on videos with your kid flashing money, flashing guns, taking drugs. That's not working. It's bad. And we have to make that known to these people. Public school education has to be the best it can be. I really like Cito Narcisse. I think he's doing a great job. And you know, right now we're trying to study 2019 murders and look were there gaps in services where the educational system maybe failed, or could we have identified better? Because all of the kids that are killing and being killed, they drop out before 10th grade. Mm-hmm. So let's find a way to keep these kids in school, and you're going to see a difference in that number if we're able to really actively invest in these kids.
And then the opioid issue, I got it less than 2 minutes here. The opioid issue is bad around the country.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how bad it is here.
I mean, it's terribly bad. We're probably going to hit 340 deaths and nearly 1,600, 1,800 overdoses. We have seen slight decline.
Think about what you just said, 1,600 overdoses.
Just for heroin related, not otherwise related. But everything seems to have fentanyl in it now, whether you want it or not as a recreational user. Extremely dangerous drug. And there's others that are coming that are just as dangerous. But now so we've identified the problem with the heroin and fentanyl. Now the idea is the outreach. How do you go find these people? And our campaign is when you are ready, because we've found that you can bring these people in all you want. If they're not ready to get help, it's not going to happen. So we want people to know that we're ready for them when they are ready.
I had a conversation with Dr. Bo Clark about it, and I was telling you earlier, and he was saying, you know, opioid users typically aren't people who are selling it. They're keeping it.
Right.
Well, listen, after the first of the year, when the year has closed out, I'd love to get you back to do another 12-month review, and we'll see about getting the sheriff in here and the chief so y'all can talk about it.
And we hope next year is just better. Everyone's working on it. It's frustrating.
Thank you, Hillar.
All right, now.
Matt Moscona is on the deck next. He is the host of After Further Review locally here on ESPN. During football season, he hosts a raucous post-game show with T-Bob Hebert called Whiskey and Wine. And he dressed up. By the way, folks, this is considered a tuxedo if you know Matt as long as I've known him. Matt Moscona, what's up, brother?
Weddings, funerals, and when I'm on the Clay Young show. It's the only time you'll ever see me in a jacket.
Listen, I paid you a compliment at the top, calling you one of the brightest sports minds in the country, and you know I really do believe that. So I kind of want to start with the contract. And I talked with Gordy last week, and I said, listen, my reaction is not negative to Brian Kelly. He's a good coach. It was just when Woody was talking about a splash and hitting a home run, I don't know, maybe I was expecting something more. Wow. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Brian Kelly's been a head coach for 40 years. He's won everywhere he's been at every level. He's the winningest active coach in college football. He has been in some really tough situations to win without resources, including Notre Dame, which has great history, but kids today who are being recruited have no idea about Tony Rice in 1988, or they don't care about the Four Horsemen. South Bend is cold.
And it's truly an academic institution.
And it is
they
tough.
want you to come there to get a degree.
You have to be able to get into Notre Dame,
Yeah.
which I know firsthand is really difficult to do.
Right.
So Brian Kelly is a winner everywhere he's been. And he is everything that Ed Orgeron wasn't, in the sense that he is mature and stable. And
Shots fired.
O had his benefits. He was a ball of energy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that had its benefits. But there were characteristics that he lacked that Brian Kelly feels. And you see that a lot of times with coaching hires. You try to go to the opposite of what you just had that didn't work. And I think the stability, the ability to build and sustain success over many years at different places, all of that, those are characteristics that you lacked prior that you have now.
How will he translate in living rooms in Louisiana?
He got players to go play in South Bend. He got players to go play in Cincinnati.
Yeah, different animal down here, though.
But it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
You hire a great staff, and
Yeah.
you win, and you can get players to play, which is ultimately what guys want. They want to get to the next level. They want to be able to have a chance to win a championship while they're here. And as long as you win, you can do that. Look, I would say that the greatest coaches in the history of LSU athletics, Nick Saban was born in West Virginia, spent his whole life in the Midwest.
Right.
Skip Bertman was a Jewish man from Detroit who grew up in Miami. They worked quite well here because they won and they embraced the culture. Brian Kelly does that, he'll be fine.
Do you think he will?
Absolutely.
So bringing Wilson back is a good move to be able to translate. I mean, he's a guy here that people can relate to, and I'm not. It's not skepticism from me, and I've said that. I don't want people to see I'm hating on the guy. I want him to do well, and you know I do. It's just you're just wondering how the fit will go.
I think fit is the most overrated thing we can talk about.
Okay.
If there was ever a fit, it was Ed Orgeron.
True.
I mean, he is LSU personified.
Yeah.
And look what happened the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Look at what we just said about Nick and Skip Bertman. And go to Dale Brown, who's from Minot, North Dakota.
Right.
Fit is so overrated and overstated. If you win, you will fit wherever you go,
Okay.
and people will love you here. I think Brian Kelly will do just fine. He'll assemble a great staff. He's got 4 decades of history to suggest that he will do that. And you're right, bringing Frank Wilson, who's New Orleans high school royalty, who I would argue is the greatest recruiter that LSU has ever had on staff.
Right.
Bringing him on staff is a major win.
Did you see Foster Campbell's piece about the salary? I read it. And what do you think about it?
I think coaches that win in major college football are grossly underpaid. If you look at LSU football or the Saints or any athletic program department franchise as nothing more than sports, you're blind.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's the same way, you can appreciate this, why Louisiana offers tax cuts to the movie industry.
Yep.
It brings economics here. The same reason we offer tax benefits to bring in plants or the giant Amazon fulfillment center in North Baton Rouge.
Right.
Because it's all bringing business. LSU football is a $160 million annual business that touches everything in this city.
And it's a big part of the recruiting tool to get kids on the campus.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It
it's
benefits
business.
everything.
Finally here, really quickly, the transfer portal has gotten hot. Explain to the layperson what that is and how it's changing college football.
All it means is that student athletes now can transfer immediately and not have to sit out. And I'm someone, it's transformed college football because people have compared it to free agency.
Right.
Where you no longer have the disadvantage of transferring, which is you'd have to sit out a year. So kids are more likely to leave now. My feeling on it is, I don't care. College football has been built to disadvantage the student athlete for so many years. I'm very pro student athlete.
How can people find you on social media as we
If
wrap
you can
up here?
spell my name, you can find it.
Kayla was asking me about spelling your name here. By the way, you are such a better guest than Gordy Rush.
Of course, he went to Jesuit.
I need you to know that.
What do you expect? Calic High out here beating Jesuit, hanging banners, claiming trophies. Why would you get a Jesuit guy on here?
You know,
Get a champion.
I think it was Mel's fault, but that's okay though. You're such a better guest. I'll have you back more than we have him back.
Gladly.
And want Gordy to know that. Listen, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. We'll catch you next week here on the Clay Young Show.